Welcome to the Darkside Podcast.
Hi, welcome everyone. Bruce Swartz here. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen into the podcast. I promise I'll keep it interesting. Well, we were just talking about it the other day, about a UFO report, that it had been years since the Roswell incident and since they had had that report way back over 50 years ago. Recently, 2 reports came out, still not telling us very much. And now, with this report, many of my ufologist friends and people that are into UFOs are going to be you are all going to be very disappointed, but not me, because I know they're going to try to downplay the UFO idea, and that's exactly what they're doing. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago that the Air Force mentioned in no way are they going to talk now anymore about the UFOs. There wasn't much talk about that on the news, but I still saw them say it. Apparently, this is in the New York Times, another corrupt place that I can't stand anymore for all the lies that they've brought out. But nonetheless, many military UFO reports are just foreign spying or airborne trash. And this is where they're going to get caught in their lies. Because what I'm capturing on film, amongst many other things and also many others, is proving the opposite of what they are saying. Forget space aliens or hypersonic technology, they say. Classified assessments are showing that many episodes have ordinary explanations, but not all of them. So listen, no need to worry. This is the New York Times reporting this, right? In Washington, government officials believe that surveillance operations by foreign powers and weather balloons or other airborne clutter explain most recent incidents of unidentified aerial phenomena. The sightings have puzzled the Pentagon and intelligence agencies for years, fueling theories about visiting space aliens and spying by a hostile nation, of course using advanced technologies. But you see, the government officials say many of these incidents have far more ordinary explanations. Intelligence agencies are set to deliver a classified document to Congress, even though there's nothing to hide, right? Wrong. Congress by Monday, is that the Monday that just went by? I believe so. Updating a report made public last year. Finally, an update to last year's report. See how slow they are? And that report said nearly all of the incidents remain unexplained. The original document looked at 144 incidents of UFO sightings before 2004 and 2021 that were reported by U.S. government's sources, mostly American military personnel. This article is based on interviews with American officials familiar with the findings of the Pentagon and intelligence agencies' examination of the incidents. The officials spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the classified work. See, some of these incidents have been formally attributed to Chinese surveillance. Like I keep mentioning in my research, like, is it a foreign country? Is it an adversarial country that's actually spying on us? Or, of course, which we can never rule out, it can be an outside threat, an alien threat. Some other incidents were formally attributed to Chinese surveillance and relatively ordinary drone technology. So, yeah, okay. I know drones exist, right? We all know drones exist and they're out there, but we see these large, big-ass UFO lights, even one that came down to see me. That's pretty much excluding the fact that they're drones. I didn't see any drone flashing lights, and nor did I see a shape of an object, nor did I hear anything or see any propellers on what came down to my house. So they say that others are also thought to be connected to Beijing, China too, which has stolen plans for advanced fighter planes, imagine, from the U.S., wants to learn more about how the United States trains its military pilots, according to American officials. Much of the information, they say, about the unidentified phenomena remains classified. And that's why this research that I'm doing on my channel is really important for people to see, because it's probably one of the few channels that are going to be able to get through the veil, because I'm not anyone that's a threat to the government. My research might be a threat, but me, myself, I'm not in contact with Putin or any Russian spy or Chinese especially, but maybe someone that had my information and that was in contact with those countries could be very dangerous. Also, they probably don't want my research being seen by some of those countries. Either way, Pentagon officials have kept most of these workings secret, in large measure because they do not want China or other countries to know that their efforts to spy on the American military were detected. It's always a competition, right? They're competing amongst themselves, China, Russia, the States, and they're always hiding the bad things that are happening. They don't want to look like fools to the people in the country, of course, the citizens of America, but especially to adversarial countries. Such official secrecy comes at a cost, they say. It's allowing conspiracy theories about government lies to thrive and to be unchecked. I'm pretty sure my research goes into that box of data for sure. They say Sue Goff, a Defense Department spokeswoman, said the Pentagon remains committed to principles of openness, but must balance that with its obligation to protect sensitive information sources and methods, say. I mean, so that's what it comes down to all the time. They always say that, listen, we're just protecting you guys and the country, and that's why we're not talking about this stuff. While the Pentagon will not rush to conclusions in our analysis, Ms. Goff said, no single explanation addresses the majority of unidentified aerial phenomena reports. We are collecting as much data as we can, following the data where it leads, and will share our findings whenever possible, she said. All right, I know what you're thinking right off the bat. You're saying this is the same things that they say all the time. Don't forget there's a push from the inside for this information to come out, and there's other countries that want the public to know, you, the American people of the United States of America, and me in Canada, and probably the rest of the world, but especially Americans, right, are waiting for the push from the inside to come out. MK Ultra, Helms, CIA at that time, 20+ thousand documents, Project Paperclip, need I say more, was destroyed to hide the information that was coming from the MK Ultra project and what they were doing with mind control. That push came out from the inside, the CIA. They were wondering themselves, so could there be another push from the inside? So this runs deep, of course. When information comes out, it's definitely not because they want to share this with us. If you're listening, if you're a little lost and you don't know about the UFO reports, this is not my report. Since Roswell 50 plus years ago, that was the last time we had seen a report. Then we had two reports, one after the other, or close to each other, 2021, and now 2022, this suspicious, very mysterious time to bring out another UFO report on Halloween, the 31st, Monday. So the more they are going to hide it in reality, the more people are going to believe that there is something that they are hiding, right? Like they're literally exposing themselves by doing this. You see all the silly moves that they are doing right now. It's taking so long for these reports to come out. But don't forget that report in 2021, those two reports, they were also classified versions. This mysterious report during the Halloween report that came out also will have a classified version also. So there's a version for the public, which is what I'm reading parts of, but again, this is in New York Times. New York Times, you know, I don't believe everything they say, and most of the time they're saying stuff that go against what most people think now because they're so corrupt these days. But this is quite simply the UFO report in parts that they're reading out. If you want to see for yourself the information that I'm finding here and sharing with you, you can check that out on theblackvault.com. Mr. John Greenwald is working on that website. He has also podcasts, thedarkvault.com/live. If you want to go to his podcast, he's also on YouTube. Let's get into the rest of the report. it was not clear how much of the new intelligence report would be made public. But of the cases that have been resolved, most have proved to be either errant junk in the sky, like balloons, or surveillance activity, officials said. Now, again, don't forget, I just told you that they said themselves in the 2021 report that there was no explanation for most of what they were seeing. So their little mention of a weather balloon, you're going to tell me they can't detect, the intelligence community or the space associations, that there are balloons in the sky, but they know exactly what the temperature is in the center of the sun and about all the Trojan asteroids that are around it and when the asteroids are coming from interstellar space. And come on, a friggin' balloon, seriously. I mean, think of it. They've been talking about balloons since 1950. As a matter of fact, Roswell incident, they tried to pass it off for balloons. So again, they're talking about it being also surveillance activities, some of the officials said. Incidents recorded in the past years for which more data has been collected, that we're not seeing, of course, has turned out to have pretty ordinary earthbound explanations. But yet they're not explaining it, right? Officially, many of the older incidents are still unexplained, and there's just too little data for Pentagon or intelligence officials to make final conclusions. So it's not that they're going to necessarily lie to us, right? But they're holding back information. We don't have the proof that they're lying, but we have proof that, anyways, I think we have enough proof to say that we can come to the conclusion that they're definitely hiding something, whether it be sinister or not, or really for our protection, or because they don't want to share this information with China and Russia. I mean, we're going to have to find, don't you agree with me? There should be laws applied just for things like that. Like, the government is the government, but they have too much power. The military has too much power. There should be laws and rules that they have to, I mean, think of it. They're doing secret projects. I know I'm jumping around here. They're doing secret projects, and they just recently got caught. Exactly, the Pentagon with using the money coming in from the taxes of the American people to do secret projects, to fund their projects, to do projects on the moon with various associations that we're not hearing about. And again, that also was declassified on theblackvault.com. Officially, many of the older incidents are still unexplained, and there's just too little data for the Pentagon or intelligence officials to make final conclusions. Now, don't get disappointed. This is, the way I see it, is quite simply the Pentagon's opinion. And that's it. They're the ones doing the secret projects. They're the ones hiding things. And it just turns out they're the ones that, unfortunately, are the ones that are in charge of the defense, along with DOD, Defense Department, of course, and the branches like DARPA, CIA, the FBI. Then you have other deeper branches, NRS. Anyways, you get the point, right? So in that perspective, well, I think it's pretty much telling us that there is something out there, and yet again, not knowing exactly what it is. But don't forget, they're promising us to tell us as soon as they know. But it gets worse. In many cases, observed phenomena are classified as unidentified simply because sensors were not able to collect enough information to make a positive attribution. So what do I mean by sensors? Well, we're talking about cameras, of course, right? Radar. And there are other devices that do collect information. So those too. We're working to mitigate, they say, these shortfalls for the future and to ensure we have sufficient data for our analysis. Sort of pushing things back in a way, right? Other officials insist that even though the evidence is imperfect, the grainy videos do not show space aliens. Optical illusions, along with the characteristics of classified sensors, have caused ordinary objects like drones and, get this, balloons to appear to be something unusual or frightening. That's a little scary in itself, I think. More frightening than their balloons that they're talking about. In May, if you all remember, the Pentagon announced that previously released images, remember, of those green triangles that Jeremy Corbell had sort of released from the Air Force, or Navy, sorry, yeah, that looked like they could be alien ships. Well, they're saying that they were actually drones photographed through night vision lenses. Was the drone triangular? Because we saw literal triangles. But honestly, when I saw that video and I saw the UFOs, or UFO was flashing, not something, and not flashing like a UFO that I filmed, flashing like a plane or a helicopter that has a strobe on it. It was a strobe. You could clearly see it was flashing. And the person filming was extremely close to that object. So now, if the Pentagon is saying that it's a drone that they filmed, or the Navy, or whoever's saying that, I have a problem, because some people like Jeremy Corbell and stuff got this from somebody that said it was something, filmed. And so would the military person that filmed that not know that it was a drone if he was that close to it? And on top of a drone being in suspension, filming something overhead, I guess this jet somehow is observing this. I mean, so the more information I think we get on these stories, the harder it is to try to come to a conclusion. Can you imagine all the images that they have from satellites, from the military? Because don't forget, they classify the findings that are unique and that only happen once as data. And that data winds up in a dump online, right? Hiding in a black box somewhere, probably in the Pentagon's basement, right? And it's just there. Whatever they're doing with it, obviously analyzing this, it's not getting out to the public, right? So that's their defense. They always have a defense mechanism where they can say, well, when they're asked a question, well, we'll talk about it later in the private meeting. So what are these private meetings for? It's that the information is exposed, but to the government from the military. And it's, a handful of people, literally a handful of people, maybe two handfuls of people that find out this information. And of course, they have to keep it classified. So as for the public, when the public hears about these things, you know us, eh? We bring that information all around the world. Also, back to the report, military officials declined to say precisely when or where the images were taken. There's another thing. Why? Well, national security reasons. And okay. But they believe the incidents are examples of attempts to conduct surveillance on military maneuvers. That could be true. China could be doing surveillance, right? So, honestly, I mean, I'm as curious as you guys. I'm as mad as you guys because we're not knowing about anything that's going on. But honestly, if it really was China or Russia doing this, an adversarial or foreign country, it would be something pretty serious that they would be trying to locate the sources of these lights and where they're coming from. So me seeing lights lift up off the surface here or from below the trees just the other day absolutely boggles my mind, because obviously these are all objects off radar. Or are they? Because not long after the recent sighting of several divisions of UFOs, divisions is two, I believe, but they were rising up in groups of three times, and even some going downwards towards the surface and appearing and disappearing. A helicopter appeared afterwards. Maybe they are being checked even here in Canada. Honestly, over Canada, there are a lot of UFOs, and there are a lot of recorded and reported, UFO sightings, that's for sure. They say UFO skeptics and experts in optics have long said many of the videos and sightings by naval aviators represent optical illusions, and they have made ordinary objects. They have made ordinary objects. I don't even know what they mean by that. Weather balloons again. There we go again. Commercial drones. And get this. Drones haven't even existed like 100. I don't know how long it's been since there have been military drones flying around. But they're talking about all these sightings. Like in 1950, was it drones flying around? Right? Maybe they did have the technology or not. But I'm just, I'm curious as to these objects do not have any sound. I'm very sorry. A drone has sound. They're not flying around with UFO drones unless it's something new that they're not telling us about. Here's a good one, though. They add this in. They say they appear to move faster than even possible. Oof. So there's a bit of truth also. I mean, they appear to move faster than possible. Okay, so they're, first of all, they're confirming that it's something alien as for technology. Whether it be alien beings, it's still an alien maybe technology. Not maybe, it's an alien technology. And what do I mean by alien technology? Well, quite simply, that it's something alien to us. It could be another country that's advanced. But this is what they talked about in the first UFO report. Again, first time after 50 plus years since Roswell of a report. Yes, in the last report, they were talking about China possibly having gone ahead of their anti-gravity technology that the U.S. had themselves. They were always and still are talking about the worry of a foreign or adversarial country having a superiority in their technologies for anti-gravity UFO technology. So I believe that part in the UFO report because I said, whoa, they're probably looking to see if it's an invasion. They're doing surveillance. It could be China, guys, for sure, But here's the thing. A lot of different sightings, right? Different characteristics. Some are unique and they're rare and they almost, probably most often, never reoccur. So that means if they're not reoccurring, they wind up as data. Nobody talks about them. And if they are alien, we're not going to know about it. But it can't be another country that has all those different objects and shapes. Think of it, guys, okay? They make a brand new secret project technology. Sometimes they make a rocket, 2 rockets, or 1 satellite, 2 or 3 satellites. But would it be thousands and thousands of different lights that act differently and have different characteristics? I doubt it. So it has to be something alien from outside of our planet. We're wondering if it's possible, guys, and us ourselves are sending out probes. We have satellites around here now. We want to send one around in cislunar orbit around the moon and Earth, or for the moon and Earth. At one point, there's one that will be rotating around both of them. So who says aliens from elsewhere cannot send their own UFO technology to do surveillance on us? Like, maybe it's one of their satellites, those lights that are noiseless and that they can descend in the sky and go back up in the sky and even disappear. Wouldn't that be perfect for someone far away to be able to see what's going on here on Earth? Especially if they had readings of bombs. And again, I'm going to say it like I said in the last time I talked about the other report, just like the World Wars. UFOs were seen during the World Wars. Besides the images of the green triangles, the other recordings released by the Pentagon have not been categorized yet as surveillance incidents, at least so far. But Pentagon officials do not believe that any of them represent aliens either. So they can say that. And if they are saying that, well, I'm telling you guys at the Pentagon, what are you doing on the moon then? Inside of the moon? And what are the explosions you guys are doing on the moon? And why are you smoking the atmosphere of the moon? Why are you applying chemicals in the atmosphere of the moon? Unless you guys admit that it's an alien, which I'm surprised, guys. I'm sure that you guys would have went with the alien invasion thing, right? Or maybe there's something deeper to it. Oh, this is getting interesting. I'm telling you, it definitely is getting interesting. One of the videos referred to as the Go Fast UFO appears to show an object moving at immense speeds, but an analysis, get this, by the military says that it's an illusion created by the angle of observation against water. According to the Pentagon calculations, the object is moving only about 30 miles per hour. Oh, what? Okay, as compared to, they were saying like, oh, it's going against the wind, it's traveling at so many knots. But so basically, what is the Pentagon denying what the pilot was saying? I don't know anymore. Another video, as you all know, as the gimbal, right? It shows an object in that video that appears to be turning or spinning. Well, fear not. The military officials now believe that it is the optics of the classified image sensor designed to help target weapons make the object appear like it is moving in a strange way. Silly material they buy, the military, right, to take pictures. A lot of the sensor problems. They should buy a P900. It goes really well, right? Or a Nikon D850. The Pentagon analysis remain puzzled by some of the videos. Oh, don't tell me. Lo and behold, collected by the military. One where an object hovers over the water, jumps erratically, then peels away. You can't help but laugh. Just that. Let me repeat myself. Oh, yeah. Well, there's one that we really cool. Like, we really can't explain it. Well, whatever happened? Like, tell us, please inform us what you guys saw that, it could interest the public. Well, there was one where there was an object that was hovering over the ocean, and then it starts jumping erratically over the water across us, and we filmed it, and then it sort of peeled away at a fast rate of speed. That's a little more difficult to explain, officials said, but analysts who have studied that video, as well as ones associated with eyewitnesses' reports from aviators, are convinced it is not a piece of alien technology. So, well, there we go again. Nevertheless, efforts by the Pentagon or intelligence officials to stamp out theories about aliens have largely failed. That's a good thing, right? The Pentagon has formed and then reformed groups inside the department to improve data collection around the incidents and provide better explanations. Military officials have repeatedly said there is no evidence that any of the images show space alien visitors. Comments often played down in the news media also, or ignored by lawmakers. In May, Pentagon, as you remember, officials testified under oath that the government had not collected materials from any alien landing on Earth. But testimony did little to dampen enthusiasm for theories about extraterrestrial visitors. Well, I would assume so, right? Publicly, military and intelligence officials have been reluctant to offer alternative theories. Good thing they're there for us. In part because they lack complete information. Like in the case of the 3 videos that we all saw recently exposed this year, big deal in last year, or because they do not want to reveal what they know about the surveillance for fear of China, most likely, or other countries could learn to better hide their activities. The failure to categorize or offer explanations for many of the unidentified incidents has allowed UFO enthusiasts to argue the government does not know what the incidents are. And I actually partly believe that could be a possibility, right? In theory. At least leaving open the possibility that aliens have been visiting the United States. So honestly, that is what it's leading to. The more the Pentagon spoke in this UFO report about there being like nothing happening, or that they don't think it's alien, it's like, I don't know, for some reason they had to, or they felt that they had to say that, right? And I think that's pretty interesting. So nobody is talking about this, but what I'm going to talk about right now. But if this is true, that let's say it was China or Russia doing these lights, going over Canada and the States and probably most of the world, would there not be a war? There's a war now. I know Ukraine's involved, but in reality, the U.S. is running it either way. And in reality, boots on the ground, the U.S. is in a war right now, by the way, against Russia. So, yeah. We'll see if I'll be able to sneak that one in. But it's true. That's what's going on. So, the Pentagon, by hiding all of this, it's telling me that there's definitely something going on. The fact that they're trying to hide all of this. And I have to say, before I get into the end of the report, I see people online talking about, oh, it's the end of ufology now. Oh, ufologists are going to have a shit. Oh, ufologists are going to flip out now. Why? The work that ufologists are doing, say to yourself, from the Pentagon to the most amateur ufologist to the most amateur sky viewer, the opinions that differentiate doesn't mean that one is more right than the other. We don't know who is more honest, right? We don't know if Bruce is honest from his research. It's always a matter of judgment and common sense and doing your own research and trying to, hopefully fall upon someone that's not just here for money, or not just here for, even though money's the devil, it runs the world, we all need some. But the ideal is that this free channel is here to expose all the UFO research, and I thought I would have gotten a lot more attention. I have gotten a lot of attention, but YouTube and the algorithm makes the channel look really low and small. But again, I can't say it enough, guys. Really, thanks to all of you if the channel's still here. So you're listening to the UFO Report. These were the opinions of the Pentagon, and yet another mysterious UFO report, but this time during Halloween, the 31st. Very odd. So let's get back into the end of the report. Yet more opinions of the Pentagon and the military. So there's a long history of the U.S. government using speculation over conspiracy theories to prevent secrets from becoming widely known. Obviously, that's always been their goal. During the development of American spy planes like the U-2 and the SR-71 Blackbirds, look those up, the government allowed rumors about UFO sightings to continue to help hide the development of those programs. So we talked about this. When I talk about aliens on the moon, if it was the Pentagon that was there, and I'm, even though I never said it was aliens, you guys know me, I mention all the theories. Some may arrive at a video where I'm saying, oh, it's aliens they're mining and it's humans. But these are all possibilities. I'm just laying them out there. I have my own opinions too. Sometimes I share them. But with this understanding of what I just read to you, it's proof that if I was wrong, and if we're all wrong about what I'm filming, and I don't come to a very close theory or conclusion that's putting them in harm, as a matter of fact, maybe I could even be helping them, like I said, For whatever the reason, I'm still up, thank the Lord. But intelligence officials concluded long ago that using conspiracy theories as a cover for classified programs sows destruct in the American government, and paranoia happens. Some American officials believe that the secrecy surrounding the Chinese surveillance of military bases once again risks giving life to conspiracy theories and heightening distrust of government in an even more bitterly divided society. Oh, come on. How could we be more divided than what we already are right now? And the conclusion, my friends, we're arriving at the end. Then I'll give you a few words. At the hearing in May, again, if you all remember, the Pentagon had declassified certain conclusions about two separate images of ghostly green triangles, which I just talked about over top. And of course, Jeremy Corbell had supposedly leaked that from a military personnel from the Navy, right? The green triangles recorded in two incidents, one on the East Coast and one on the West. Officials testified publicly that the green triangles were actually drones. It's funny, they're repeating that a second time with a trick of the camera lens and night vision technology, transforming them into glowing triangles that looked like alien spacecraft. Oof, good thing they didn't say that what I caught coming down to the house was transformed by a sensor in my cheap infrared camera. So I guess it'll always come down to that, right? So for those that want to see the truth, it's honestly Jeremy Corbell's UFO. I said it day one, and I even wrote a post in the community here about it on my channel, that if it's flashing like a plane, it's probably right off the bat something military or human. So if they're saying it's drones, well, it could be, but hey, is the drone triangular? Because that object really was triangular and it really was hovering. So if they say it's a drone, it's a drone.
Or is it?
We may never know, right? But many people might be discouraged for this UFO report. It's more like a UFO scolding the ones that believe in UFOs. So they're destroying our dreams and passions, right? No, first of all, say to yourselves, the reason why we are all researching this is because they're all over the skies and people have had encounters. Absolutely. Some have even had close encounters. You know, I've had a close encounter, but some have even entered ships. Some have even been followed all of their lives. And I'm sorry, but I personally believe those stories. So the Pentagon, say to yourself, they're even admitting to possibly be hiding for reasons of national security. So we must take that into consideration either way. Maybe we'll know more at one point. I am getting very, very curious. I'll tell you that for sure. And of course, the mysterious date where they did the actual report, where, you know, I just saw it a day or two ago. So it was actually, we're the second now. So the 31st, I don't know when it came out, 31st or the 1st, but that's the information that we have, ladies and gentlemen. So you heard it. I think it's even more exciting that they're still keeping things hush-hush. So there's more information, don't forget, coming out from supposedly the 2021 UFO report, where we're still waiting for some information. And of course, they have a classified version of this report. So thanks so much, everyone, for taking the time to check out the channel, the podcast, for listening in. And please do take the time to check out the UFO videos and the moon videos and infrared UFO sightings. I just recently caught several UFOs lifting up from low on the surface.